is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
Desmond is hunted. Flag down by Elvis. That's not fair. Golden! Deep right field. It is on its way. Walk it up, Mitch Moreland. Got him swinging.
And the Rangers never, ever quit.
It is a clear and cool evening here at Safeco Field in Seattle. Rangers will try and heat things up and win the final game of this four-game series against the Seattle Mariners. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Graves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this Thursday night of Ranger Baseball. Rangers trying to make it an even split of this four-game series. And tonight they send Derek Holland to the hill, who has really been pitching well lately.
He has, Buzz, and you know, it's not a secret that Derek was struggling a little bit before he went on the disabled list. But since he's come back, he's had 3 starts. All 3 starts have been quality starts. All 3 starts have been very efficient starts. He's averaged less than 15 pitches per innings. Before he went on the disabled list with men in scoring position, opponents were hitting over 350. Since he's come back, they're only 3 for 14. Opponent's average is below 220. Not surprisingly, he's won 2 out of those 3 decisions, and the Rangers will be looking for him to continue to pitch this way down the stretch and into the postseason if they get there.
Yeah, very important for Derek Holland to get things in gear and keep them going that way for the Rangers. He'll be on the hill tonight, and when we come back to Safeco Field after this timeout, we're going to have John Radigan sit down and talk with tonight's starter, Derek Holland. Your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Well, a clear sky overhead, a brisk evening here at Safeco Field. Temperature in the low 60s. Before we get things underway, let's sit down and check in with John Radigan.
Yeah, Buzz, thanks very much. Derek Holland, as you guys mentioned, on the mound, trying to win his third consecutive start for the first time since he did that back in 2012. He's already had 3 consecutive quality starts since returning from the disabled list. And on the DL last time, it was more than about getting healthy. It was a little bit about changing his mechanics.
You know, I've been hurt for the past 2 years with shoulder injuries. Well, what's causing that? So we had to look all the video up on that and see what we could find. And man, we found some good stuff. Definitely got my arm where it needs to be. Progressing each time out there, I feel like everything's going the right direction. The main thing is being healthy. You know, I look at that at the end of the day, come out of a game, you know, how good or how bad I do. The main thing is I just want to make sure I'm healthy, because if I'm healthy, it means I'm out there, I'm playing, and then if I'm out there and playing, I'm at least giving the team a chance to win.
And he's done exactly that in his first 3 starts, allowing just 1 run in each of the first 2 and getting a win last time out. In fact, 2 wins in a row. It's another night here at Seattle's Safeco Field, and there's a right-handed pitcher on the mound. That means NOMAR MAZARA is back in the lineup and in the leadoff spot. And we get to the rest of the lineup in the first pitch right after this.
Presented by high-speed internet from AT&T. Well, Seattle's Safeco Field, a cool and clear evening here in mid-September now. Rangers and the Mariners getting set to wrap up this 4-game series. Tom's going to tell you about the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers starting lineup.
Well, NOMAR MAZARA is the leadoff hitter. He's had a couple of home runs and 5 RBIs in his last 4 ball games. Ian Desmond is in center field. Carlos Beltran's batting third again. Tonight he'll play right field. He has a 10-game hitting streak. Adrian Beltre is the DH. And the cleanup hitter, Rougned Odor, is the second. Baseman batting fifth. Mitch Moreland is batting sixth. Jurickson Profar will get the start at third base and bat seventh. Elvis Andrus is at shortstop. And batting ninth, the catcher, 5 for his last 11, Robinson Chirinos.
And that lineup put together by Jeff Bannister for tonight. They will be charged with facing the 24-year-old right-hander Taijuan Walker. Walker making his 21st start of the season here tonight. He has struggled a little bit lately. He is just 4-10 for the year, a 4.60 ERA in the league, hitting .252 against the hard-throwing right-hander. Took a loss last time out. Gave up back-to-back-to-back home runs in the first inning to the Los Angeles Angels. Cole Calhoun, Mike Trout, and Albert Pujols all took him deep, and that was not a great way to start. Went on to lose that ball game 10-3 to the Angels. Last 5 starts, he is 0-4 with a 9.55 ERA, and that's the breakdown of the kinds of pitches he throws. A fastball about a third of the time, 94 miles an hour as an average. Some cutters, a few curveballs, and the changeup is primary off-speed pitch that you'll see tonight. It is a split-fingered pitch that he uses. So here we go. Rangers come in at 83 and 57, and the first pitch of the night is high to NOMAR MAZARA for ball 1. MAZARA hitting at .275, 17 home runs, the most by an American League rookie this year. 57 RBI. Ahead of the count here, 2-0. MAZARA for the 12th time this year starting in the leadoff position for the Rangers. A 5-game hitting streak coming in to play here tonight. And ball 3 is high and away. So NOMAR trying to get aboard very quickly to start things. He'll be followed by Ian Desmond, the Rangers center fielder. And ball 4. 4-pitch walk has MAZARA aboard.
Pretty much the same pitch 4 times, up and away.
We'll take a look at the Seattle defense tonight behind Taijuan Walker. Outfield of Heredia, Martin, and Gutierrez, left, center, and right. Daho Lee at first, Robinson, Cano, and Sean O'Malley up the middle with Kyle Seager at third. And the veteran Chris Iannetta is catching tonight. No, 1 on, nobody out. Here's Ian Desmond. Ball 1. And Iannetta, after 5 pitches out of the strike zone, going to go out and talk to Taijuan Walker. In that game I mentioned against the Angels last time out, Walker hit the first batter with a pitch and then gave up the 3 consecutive home runs. So it is not an unfamiliar spot for him to have the leadoff man aboard and have that conjure up bad memories for him. So Chris Iannetta going out and making sure that the young man's mind is clear and that he's focused on the task at hand, and that's throwing strikes to Ian Desmond. Desmond, a .289 hitter, 21 home runs, 81 RBI. There is strike 1. He had a couple of hits yesterday, 2 for 6 in his career against Walker. Rangers have battered around Taijuan Walker this year and throughout his career. Pitch inside. Walker 0-1 this year in a couple of starts. Giving up 7 runs in 11 innings of work against the Rangers. In his career, he's 1-2 with a 4.76 ERA. 2-1. 3-1.
Well, Buzz, you talked about what he's done in his last 5 starts. His last 5 starts have increased his ERA from 3.29, which is where it was after 15 starts, all the way up to what it is right now, 4.60. Shows you how much he has struggled.
And a strike at the knees, 3-2. Yeah, it has not been a whole lot of fun for him, I'm sure.
I'd love to see him take that pitch right there, 3-1. The pitcher's really struggling with his command right now. So many hitters, 3-1, just swing no matter if the ball's close or whether it's a strike or not. He took, trying to make him throw strikes, trying to get on base any way he can. And with a guy that's having problems, you make him throw strikes, maybe you get another walk right here. So, as it is, he's had to throw 3 straight strikes.
And he's getting ready for another 3-2 pitch. MAZARA was not running on the first one. He is staying put here this time. Outside and low, ball 4. Back-to-back walks open up the Ranger first inning.
You know, any hitter loves to hit a 3-1 pitch, but the fact is, no matter who you are on a 3-1 pitch, you're going to make an out probably around 60% of the time at the bat, at the least. And so if you put that ball in play and make it out, you kind of help the pitcher out after he's walked a guy and gone 3-1. But if you do what Ian did, you take that pitch, make him throw strikes. Maybe he can't. Now there's 2 men on right now.
And you've got Carlos Beltran standing in there taking strike 1.
The odds are if you get ball 4, it's 100% sure that you're going to get on first base.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody thrown out.
That 3-1 pitch is fun to hit, but it's not 100% guaranteed that you're going to get on base.
Slow breaking ball, and that one bends over for a strike. 0-2. Beltran getting the start in right field tonight. .299 average overall. Hit his 27th home run of the year last night. A 2-run blast. 85 driven in for Beltran. Got him swinging. No, Walker zeroing in on the strike zone gets the punch out. 1 gone for Adrian Beltre.
That's a pretty dramatic turnaround. 2 straight walks and then strike out a guy who's got a 10-game hitting streak going on 3 pitches.
Beltre stepping in, a .291 hitter. You can see he has really feasted on Taijuan Walker. 7 for 13 with a home run. That's a .538 average. Ball 1. Adrian against the Mariners this year, 4 home runs in the 15 games. He has driven in better than an RBI per game, 18 of them in 15 games, hitting at .315. Chopper foul, 1 ball and 1 strike. Now Beltre's streak last night of consecutive games with a run scored came to an end. How about this? Missed only 1 of 49 swings in the last 7 days.
Wow. That's pretty amazing when you look at some of the pitches he swings at. You know, he doesn't have a narrow strike zone.
Fouled off to the right.
Shows you the hand-eye coordination and the ability to make contact that he's got.
And quality hitters, you don't see quality hitters have that kind of streak very often, I wouldn't think. I mean, even quality hitters, I should say.
Yeah, even quality hitters that have a narrow strike zone and only swing at pitches within the strike zone. To have that is amazing, but a guy that swings at pitches 6 or 7 inches high and out of the strike zone and hits him out of the ballpark, to have that swing and miss total is amazing.
This one popped up. Dae-Ho Lee, the first baseman, is going to run out of room. That's back 7 rows. Still 1-2 to Beltre. Well, Adrian, as many of the middle of the order hitters for the Rangers have been, very hot of late. Last 8 ball games, he's hit .367. There is hot zone, and you might want to run that up 2 or 3 more rectangles up above the strike zone. It's pretty hot up there too. Anything in the inner part of the plate, especially up. That's off the plate inside. You could probably say that's a hot zone too, the way he's going. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Beltre's 92 RBI. That's tops on the team. It's also 6th in the American League. Got MAZARA at second, Desmond at first. 2-2. No, Walker already 20 pitches into the first inning. Looking for his second out. Stayed high and inside. 3-2 to Beltre. Well, Adrian with a full count, trying to reach base to join his teammates. He'll be followed by Rougned Odor.
In the last week or so, we've seen a lot of pitchers, both Ranger pitchers and opponents, have high pitch counts in the first inning. Walker's on his way to 1, depending on what happens with Adrian right here.
Well, that last one, 22 for the inning. Yeah, Adrian can make a pitcher work too. You talked about him expanding the zone. He can foul off some pitches that other people wouldn't even bother with, and it runs a pitcher's count up very quickly. Now Walker sets again. Check of the runners, another 3-2 pitch. Right center field. Gutierrez gliding to his right. Out number 2. Now Rougned Odor now will come up. Odor batting at .282. He's the team leader with those 30 home runs. He has been a .500 hitter in his career against Taijuan Walker with a home run. American League Player of the Week for last week. First pitch to him. 0-1. Rougned had his 7-game hitting streak snapped last night. In the 8 games, he's now a .459 hitter. One and one. Odor with 6 home runs in his last 8 ball games and 8 home runs in his last 17 games. Now time called Iannetta. As Walker went into the set position, Iannetta really wasn't sure what he just agreed to have Walker throw. So he said, hang on, let me make sure I know what's coming. Go back through the series of signs. A little bit low, 2 balls and a strike. Odor just 22 years of age. He's the 5th Ranger in franchise history that age or younger to have a 30 home run season. That ball is ripped to center field. Back goes Martin at the track, at the wall, and makes the catch right up against the paddock. Rougned gave it a ride, but came up just a couple of feet short, and the Rangers strand 2 in the first. After half inning, Rangers nothing, Mariners coming up. Here in Seattle. Rangers missing the top of the first. Tom's going to tell you now about the Mariners lineup.
Guillermo Heredia is in left field. Franklin Gutierrez bats second. Last 9 games, he's a .429 hitter. Robinson Cano is at second base. Nelly Cruz is the DH, tied for 4th in the league with 35 home runs. Kyle Seager bats 5th at third base. Dae-Ho Lee is at first. Leonis Martinez batting 7th in center field. Chris Iannetta behind the plate today, and Sean O'Malley's the shortstop.
Yeah, Derek Holland, the 29-year-old southpaw out of Newark, Ohio, throws strike one. Holland making his 18th start of the year. He's 7-6. And Heredia lines one to right. Backpedaling and making the catch going to his right. Here's Carlos Beltran for out number one. Holland at 457 earned run average. 90 innings of work now under his belt. 262 the league average against Derek. Pitch mix for him, about 63% fastballs. Topping out at 91, maybe 92. Some sliders, curveballs of equal measure, and then the changeup, which had been kind of a forgotten pitch for Holland, but he's broken that out a little bit of late. A one out, Franklin Gutierrez, number 2 hitter, batting at 257. Ball one. Gutierrez, 14 home runs, 39 driven in. He's had a lot of at-bats against Holland over the years, 6 for 29. One of those 6 for Gutierrez, a home run. 2 balls, no strikes.
It was interesting to listen to Derek in his interview with John Radigan talk about his injury, coming back from his injury and studying the film and coming up with a little bit of a different mechanical change that has eased the strain on his arm. Feels good about that. I guess that's half the battle, Buzz. If you feel good about it, that you've made the change, probably helps everything else fall in place as well.
Yeah, I would think so. Hitting's the same way. If you feel good about a change you make and you have a little success with it, you're going to stick with it more. And that's 90% of the battle, is feeling good about what you're doing.
For sure. And hopefully in Derek's case, it's the kind of change that allows him to stay healthy.
Yeah. 3-1 the count to Gutierrez. And Derek lost it. 1 out walk. Gutierrez aboard. Now Robinson Cano coming up. Take a look at the Ranger defense while we have a second. It's brought to you tonight by DeMontron RV. MAZARA, Desmond, and Beltran, left, center, and right. Mitch Moreland, Odor, Elvis Andrus, and Jurickson Profar around the infield. Profar giving Beltre a partial night off. Robinson Chirinos is catching for Derek Holland. A 1 on, 1 out. Robinson Cano stepping in, hitting at .304. Having a terrific year for the Mariners at 32 home runs, 86 RBI. And he has always been a tough out for Derek Holland, a .356 average. Up the middle, could be a double play. Odor to the bag, a jump throw. Plenty of time to get Cano. That ball was scorched. And Andrus and Odor turning it over nicely. So a 6-4-3 double play. That takes care of the Mariners in the first. Odor doing a pirouette out there. On to the second. No score. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by the all-new 3-row Mazda CX-9, meticulous and crafted for driving because driving matters. A beautiful shot of downtown Seattle, the Emerald City. Rangers coming to bat here in the top of the second inning. Mitch Moreland takes strike one from Taijuan Walker. Moreland hitting at .249, 22 home runs, 58 RBI. 1-1. Moreland is 2 out of 13 against Walker, but one of those two left the ballpark. Mariners going to an overshift with Moreland at the plate. High fastball got by him. You see CANO out in medium right field with the rest of the infield shifted well over. One and two.
The Walker's obviously struggled recently, but throughout the course of the season, he's had some pretty solid things go his way. He's had 7 starts without a walk, 6 starts where he's pitched at least 6 innings and only given up 1 run. And he had a game against Cleveland back in June where he pitched 8 shutout innings, no walks, and 11 strikeouts. So when you get him at his best, he can be pretty tough. Unusual for him to walk 2 guys in the first inning. Coming in, he'd only walk 24 in 103 innings.
Moreland rolls it right into the teeth of that shift, and CANO throws him out. So 1 gone. Jurickson Profar will be next. You saw the statistic on Taijuan Walker, the number of strikeouts against left-handers that come on fastballs, the majority of them. And that splitter that he threw on the 1-2 pitch to Moreland that Mitch was able to lay off was one of his strikeout pitches, but he's kind of gone away from that now. He hasn't been able to get the bottom to fall out of that quite as regularly. Still working on it. Jurickson Profar taking strike one. .257 average for Profar, 5 home runs, 18 driven in. Jurickson mired in a pretty good offensive downturn. This just his 3rd start in the last 16 ball games.
It seems like when Jurickson gets his pitch and takes a really good swing, he's fouling off a lot of those pitches. He's not really catching them. And I think it's just a matter of zeroing in on him and being able to make solid contact. He's had good swings at a lot of pitches, had some pitches to hit, just hasn't been able to connect consistently on them.
He's down on the count now, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think there's times where he may benefit from shortening up his stroke a little bit too. He tends to occasionally take that swing like he's 6'4", 230 pounds, trying to hit the ball 500 feet.
Like that one?
And he, he can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Sure.
He might be better served by hitting the ball to all fields and hitting line drives and taking the home run when it comes.
Profar just 5 for his last 40. That's a 125 average. Up the middle by Walker, but there's the shortstop O'Malley. 2 gone. Next will be Elvis Andrus. I mentioned the Rangers still with that now 9-game advantage since Houston lost this afternoon to Cleveland. Rangers 9 full games ahead of the Astros. Texas 36 and 35 on the road this year. 83 and 57, 26 over 500. Their high water mark at 28 over 500. Jeff Bannister's ball club. There you see the Western Division standings. 11.5 over Seattle and the Angels and Oakland further back. Center field, Leonis Martin camped underneath it. And that'll do it. A 1-2-3 inning. Walker now has retired 6 straight after the 2 leadoff walks. 1.5 in the books. No score in Seattle. for the Nationals. Left last night's game after 8 batters with right elbow soreness. Same problem he had earlier that kept him on the shelf, that flexor mass strain in the right arm. He's out for an undetermined amount of time. New York Yankees, boy, they are reinserting themselves into the wild card conversation. 22-13 since August the 1st. That's the second best winning percentage in the American League. Yankees now within just a couple of games of a wild card berth.
Yeah, it's funny. They got younger. They made trades for young players. Some of them are in the big leagues, others aren't. But ever since that moment where they decided to go that direction, they played a lot better baseball.
They sure have.
Sanchez, the catcher, hitting all those home runs hasn't hurt very much.
No.
But I think it energized their team when they made those trades. They were getting pretty stale and old.
Well, Nelson Cruz leading off against Derek Holland. Holland able to come back from falling behind 2 balls and no strikes to throw a couple of strikes. And it's 2-2. Cruz, the team leader with 35 home runs, 85 RBI. 3-2. Nelly batting 4th in the order, leading off the second, trying to get a board in front of Kyle Seager. Holland with a 3-2 pitch. Only player in Major League Baseball with the 35 or more home runs in each of the last 3 seasons. In this day and age of the home run being a big part of the offense, that's pretty impressive. Odor shading up the middle. He's able to backhand that at the shortstop spot and throw out Cruz. 1 gone.
A couple of scalded ground balls by Cano and Cruz. Fortunately, one turned into a double play, and that one was right into the shift to Rubned. Playing on the shortstop side.
That was about a 98-mile-an-hour skimmer.
It was. Yeah, the one Cano hit might have been hit harder than that.
Yeah. No, 1 gone here in the second. Kyle Seager, a .292 average, steps in. Strike 1 from Holland. There you go. Here's that Nelly Cruz bolt. 99.7 is what that was. Seager getting that fastball inside, and he's going to feel that for a while. Right off of his right foot or leg somewhere. .26 home runs for Seager, 88 RBI. See, against Holland, he's gone 10 for 40 with a couple of home runs. And Derek waiting patiently on the hill. Seager stepping back gingerly into that batter's box. Watch this thing. Ow. Right above the protective pad. No, 0-2. Didn't really want to, but he did. And the appeal down to third base. Holland gets the call. Mike Belinsky down there said, yeah, he went too far. First strikeout for Holland. There are 2 gone now.
A good pitch. Took a little bit off that one, and this one fooled Seager. Just about exactly where you want to throw it. And you could see Seager went just a little bit too far. A little frustrated, but he's pretty sure that was going to be called a strike.
He wasn't going to put too much weight on that front foot either that time. Kind of leaving. Here's Dae-Ho Lee. Bauer hitting first baseman. That's from the right side. He's the right-handed component of what is pretty much a platoon at first. He and Adam Lind, left-handed hitter. Holland misses inside to even the count. Lee, a .260 average. That has come up pretty significantly in the last several weeks. 13 home runs, 48 driven in. Here's a changeup. 1-2. Against the Rangers, couldn't tell by those numbers that he's been struggling. 356 with 3 home runs in 15 games. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lee had gotten into such a funk that the Mariners sent him down for about 10 days to AAA. Went down there and hit 570. Said, okay, well, that didn't really do what we were trying to. Hit well to right field, slicing deep into the corner, and that ball is gone. Deo Lee going the other way about 340 feet right down the right field line, and the Mariners lead 1-0.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure what he does against other teams, but when he gets a fastball to hit against the Rangers, he generally puts pretty good swing on it, makes pretty solid contact. Got him to fish for a changeup. Tried to get him with a fastball away, and Lee just went that way with it and hit his 14th home run.
No. Seattle with their 192nd home run of the year, or 3rd in the American League, and first ball swinging, Leonis Martin has a single to center field, right back through the box.
It's play by a Mariner fan. Wasn't that good though.
No, 1 on, 2 out. All this happening with 2 outs. Leonis Martin, the team leader in stolen bases. Home runs against left-handed pitching this year. Seattle has the most by quite a bit over Detroit. That was their 71st home run against Southpaws. Here's Chris Iannetta. Iannetta hitting just .216, but he has 7 home runs and has driven in 22. He has really been a problem for Derek Holland. As you can see, a .346 career average and 9 for 26 with a home run. One and one. First action that Iannetta has seen since 5 days ago. Mike Zunino called back and has been doing the majority of catching. Also, Jesus Sucre caught a game here on Monday. Iannetta against left-handed pitching this year, though, doing a little better. .255 average. That is opposed to 191 against right-handers. Martin moving on the pitch, but it's fouled off. 1 and 2. Leonis Martin, the Mariner leader in stolen bases, 17 of them this year. He's 17 out of 22. Holland reading the signs from Robinson Chirinos. On the move again. The pitch is high. The throw is not. They got it. Tagged him just going by. Odor got that tag down on the helmet, it looked like, of Leonis Martin. And Scott Servant says, hang on here a second. Give us a chance to have our video people take a look at it. Looked like it. See what you think. There's the tag, and the foot not quite there yet.
Doesn't seem like that's going to get overturned, and they're not even going to challenge it.
Bob Davidson making the call, and Scott Servant says, "Up, that's okay. We took a look at it. We don't think that was the wrong call at all." No, a run on Deo Lee's opposite field home run. 1-0 Seattle. for their last trip to Arlington. It's a weekend series starting a week from tomorrow. That's September 16th. Goes through Sunday the 18th. Come on out and support the Rangers. On Friday, September 16th, enjoy a post-game fireworks show. Just use the coupon code FIREWORKS. You get upper-level tickets for just $14 at TexasRangers.com/specials. Well, Day-Ho lead the difference in the ball game thus far. A 345-foot home run right down the right field line. The Rangers now trailing by a run as Robinson Chirinos takes strike one. Chirinos batting at .208. He has been very hot of late, however. Walker's next pitch, a little bit outside to him. Chirinos, a 3-game hitting streak that's seen him go 5 for 11. This is 41st start overall for the Rangers behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Got some Ranger fans here tonight. Some of them, I'm not aware who they are, but I am aware of this family. Randy, Barb, Josh, Peyton, Allie, Schultz are here tonight. Big Ranger fans, have been for a long time.
Two and two to Chirinos. Robinson leading off this 3rd inning. Rangers still looking for their first base hit off of Taijuan Walker. Fouled away, the count remains even. Walker, you remember, approached 30 pitches in that 1st inning, but has settled in nicely. 75%, almost 76% of the time this year, Walker has used that fastball to right-handers. Now a 2-2. Shot slowly foul. We'll try it one more time. Chirinos with that average of .208. That's as high as his average has been since back in the middle of July. Went through a streak where hits were just not falling for Robinson. Another foul back. Taijuan Walker now at 29 strikes, 18 balls. So that strike to ball ratio working its way back to where he would like it. Breaking ball hit him.
There it is. A slow curveball. More and more guys just standing there and taking it. You get a chance to have a leadoff runner on by getting hit by a 70-mile-an-hour slow curveball. That's worth it.
Well, the Rangers now have been hit 62 times this year. That was 2nd in the American League. And if they were all like that, they'd probably have more guys hit. Fairly easy way to get on, relatively painless. No one on, nobody out. Back to the top of the order for NOMAR MAZARA. MAZARA led the ball game off with a 4-pitch walk. Got as far as 2nd base after the walk to the next hitter, Ian Desmond. Our TXU Energy power player to watch. That man right there in your screen, NOMAR MAZARA, leading American League rookies with 125 hits. Looking to become just the 2nd player in team history to lead American League rookies in hits. Elvis Andrus did that his rookie year back in 2009. Towering pop fly to shallow left. And Heredia makes the catch. That is out number 1. Chirinos staying at first. And before Ian Desmond steps in, let's send it back to Aaron Hardigan for a Chevy game break. All right, Aaron, thank you. Chopper up the middle into center field for Ian Desmond. Well, there's the first Ranger hit. Chirino stopping at second. Rangers 2 aboard and just 1 out with Beltran coming up.
That ball looked like it had some top spin on it when it took that last hop. It looked like CANO might be in the vicinity of that ball, but when it took the last hop, it just scooted right by him into center field. Well placed bouncer up the middle.
That second hop looked like you get one from those Super Balls. That
Yeah,
you have overspin on
right
it.
here. It just looked like it
Boing.
took right off there. It did.
2 aboard. Here is Beltran, who struck out his first time. 0-1. Looked like that split-fingered pitch that Taijuan Walker likes to use to left-handers. Beltran as a Ranger this year, hitting at .285, 5 of his 27 home runs in a Texas uniform. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Carlos, a current 10-game hitting streak on the line here today, 18 for 41. That's a .439 mark. 12 RBI, 3 home runs. The OPS up over 1,200. And with runners in scoring position, better than 500. 7 for 13. Ahead of the count here, 2 balls and a strike. Beltran, the 39-year-old. Boy, you wouldn't be able to tell by watching him play the game of baseball. And the breaking ball skips low. It's 3-1. Carlos hitting third and getting with the hitters count. Adrian Beltre will follow. Taijuan Walker a check of second. Ground ball, base hit to right field. Being waved around third. Here comes Torinos to the plate. The throw, the slide, he's safe.
I hope he's all right the way he's rolled over home plate. Good call by Spike Owen at third base. Challenged the right fielder, Franklin Gutierrez. And that's an 11-game hitting streak for Carlos Beltran. And Robinson Chirinos barreled around third with a nice slide, just snuck by the tag from Chris Iannetta. A fastball up, pulled it in the hole. Pretty strong throw by Gutierrez. And fortunately, there's the sweep tag. He came up short.
And a couple of years ago, before that anti-collision rules were put in there at home plate, that would have been a bang-bang play. Iannetta could not block home plate before he had the ball. But a few years back, you would have seen that catcher planted right in front of home plate to get that ball and prevent the runner from sliding directly at the plate. Now, Chirino's able to score. We got a brand new ball game tied at 1. And still just 1 out. Here's Beltre, who flied to right in the first. Ball 1. Adrian, 26 home runs, 92 runs driven in. He's got Desmond at second, Beltran at first. 1 ball and 1 strike. Beltre, with runners in scoring position this year, he has dropped out of the top 10, but still 331, the average for the Ranger captain, the unofficial captain. Desmond getting his lead from second. Base hit to left field. Desmond tearing around third. He's going to be waved home. Heredia's throw, the slide, he is out at home plate. That took a perfect throw from Guillermo Heredia, and he made it. Jeff Bannister with his hand up saying, wait a minute here, I'm not so sure. I'll give our guys a chance, but that was a great throw by Heredia.
Yeah, you just make the assumption on a ground ball to the outfield with Ian Desmond running that you're going to be able to pick up the run, but Heredia charged that ball. That ball almost hit the runner. It just barely missed Desmond sliding, and Iannetta stays right there and makes the play.
Yeah, Jeff Banish is going to go out and talk to the home plate umpire, Dan Iasonia. And I think what he's going to talk about is blocking the plate, what we were just talking about.
You just got done talking about it.
You can't have your foot in front of home plate, so if there's no clear path to the plate for the runner any longer without the ball. And I think that what Jeff Banish is going to say to Dan Iasonia is, hey, take a look at it, see where the catcher was setting up with that left foot before the runner got there. That's what we're talking about, that left foot planted right in front of home plate, impeding Desmond from going at the plate.
Yeah, if Ian could have gone straight at the plate, that ball might have hit him right in the back, because it just barely missed him and allowed Iannetta to make the catch.
He doesn't have the ball yet, and that foot is right there in front of home plate. And I think, my understanding anyway of it, is that should negate the tag at home plate.
Yeah.
But there again, I thought I understood rules before on this stuff and had it turned over.
The fans think that the Rangers are arguing the tag at the plate, and he's obviously out.
And there's the ball just getting to Iannetta, and they are going to rule out. Call is upheld as far as out. So apparently they ruled that that was okay, that Iannetta was not impeding a straight line to any part of the plate.
I guess we'd have to see an example of what isn't allowed before you actually know, because if you can't stand in front of home plate, I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go get a clarification myself, because then I don't understand that. So Beltre gets a hit, but great throw by Heredia. 2 outs now. Beltran advancing to second. Beltre at first. Here's Odor. It's ball 1 that hangs outside. Announcing here that the call was confirmed, and I have to find out exactly what the challenge was all about, but in any event, the out is recorded. Rougned Odor, with a count of 1 ball and no strikes, will try and put the Rangers on top. 1-1. Odor hit a long fly ball that drove Leonis Martin, the center fielder, right back to the wall his first time up. So Beltran at second, Beltre at first. Both of them with singles here in the 3rd inning. One and two. Rougned Odor with that hot zone. Up and away, middle away. Hard hit, base hit to right field. Beltran now will be waved around third. The throw's coming toward third. In to score Beltran. Rougned Odor gives the Rangers a 2-1 lead with his RBI single.
Rougned just missed a home run in the 1st inning. He hit it right to the base of the wall in center field. But with 2 strikes, got a good pitch to hit. Rangers finding some holes in the infield with these ground balls.
4 consecutive singles. Rangers take the lead 2-1. Hanging breaking ball, and Taijuan Walker, considering what Odor has been doing lately, fortunate to get that ball back. It's the kind of pitch that Odor has been hitting into the seats lately. Now this an RBI single, so the Rangers get the lead. Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the pitching coach, out to have a conference. No runners at the corners now, and Mitch Moreland will step to the plate, try to keep this going. Moreland, a ground ball to second, his first time. And again, the Mariners put the big shift on for Mitch with CANO way out there He's a good 40 feet into right field. Check swing. And the appeal down to third. No swing, said Mike Malinsky. 1 ball and no strikes. Mitch, 46 games in this ballpark. Has 9 home runs and 19 RBI. A .275 average. Popped up. Long run for Seager. In foul ground, the third baseman puts it away, and that'll do it. Now the Rangers get 4 consecutive base hits. They take the lead with 2 runs, and they strand 2. 2.5 in the books, 2-1 Rangers. Ice cream Sunday out at the ballpark. Ice cream is just $1 for youngsters 13 and under. Come on out and support your Rangers. They take on the Oakland A's on the 18th. Get your tickets for Saturday, September 18th, or Sunday, September 18th at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS. Well, Derek Holland with the lead now, dealing to Chris Iannetta, who was left standing at home plate when Leonis Martin was caught in the second inning. It'll be Iannetta, O'Malley, and Heredia. 1 ball and 1 strike. Iannetta, originally with the Colorado Rockies, went over to the Angels for a number of years, was the mainstay for Mike Scioscia's club. Good breaking ball from Holland. It's 1-2. Now Holland goes into the wind. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Derek, 32 pitches, 19 of which have been strikes. Our Kubota Power Stats talking about Derek's ERA in the last 9 ball games. Right here at Safeco at .265. That's the 5th lowest ERA at Safeco among active pitchers, with a minimum of 7 games started. Derek likes the way this ballpark feels to him. It's a pitcher's ballpark from the standpoint of the ball not jumping out of here. He gets a strike on Iannetta and sends Iannetta packing. 1 gone, 2nd strikeout for Derek.
That one could have been a strike. It was a strike, and you might have swung at it too. Good pitch, good slider. A couple of good sliders for strikeouts. He got Seager with a nice slider. That was almost the same pitch. One was outside to the left-hand hitter. That one was inside to the right-hand hitter.
Is that one where the hitter turns around and asks the umpire, did I swing at there or was I called strike? And says yes.
Yeah, both. That means you got one strike on you the next time you come
right.
up. Yeah. I'm counting it for 2.
0-1 the count to Sean O'Malley. O'Malley, a switch hitter. He gets jammed with that fastball and fights it off into the seats. 0-2. First strikeout in the last 36 at bats against a right-handed hitter for Holland. The other strikeout Derek had tonight was Kyle Seager back in the 2nd inning. Another foul off to the right. Now Derek's strikeout ratio better than 2 strikeouts per 9 innings, below what his career had dictated he would have. Derek contributing that to the loss of velocity, but also not being able to execute put-away pitches, get ahead of guys, and then not having the execution to make the pitch you have in mind. He's averaging 5.46 strikeouts per 9 innings. Whereas before is up over 7 1/4. Base hit to left field. Good example of it right there. Get 0-2, a couple of foul balls, and another 0-2 pitch, and you hang an off-speed pitch for him. O'Malley aboard, a 1-out single. Back to the top of the order.
That one did hang up in the strike zone. Wasn't quite down like the other 2 that he got the strikeouts with.
Well, here's Guillermo Heredia again, who lined to right field to start things for the Mariners tonight. And O'Malley with pretty good speed at first, so Holland's going to keep close tabs on him. Heredia just a .210 average. What we've seen from him, he swings the bat pretty well. Last 4 ball games, 1 for 8 for Heredia with a couple of strikeouts. Holland not becoming a fan favorite here. The left-hander again set. Heredia signed with the Mariners the first day of March this year. Had a stop at Double-A and then on to Triple-A before called to the big leagues. 2 balls and no strikes. Heredia checking down with third base coach Manny Acta. Two and one. And again, Heredia looking for instructions down there to third. O'Malley, a pretty good lead, staying put, and the pitch line foul. 2-2 now. Derek Holland trying to reinsert himself into the main part of the rotation for the Rangers. Been a tough 2 years for Derek. Knee surgery kept him out almost all of 2014. 2015 was the shoulder problems. Another jam shot foul. This year the shoulder started barking at him late May and early June. Put him on the shelf for a couple of months. Ranger infield up at double play depth. They've already turned one tonight. Check swing and just a little bit low. The appeal down to first.
Could have been a strike without the swing.
Yep.
Pretty good pitch. Borderline pitch at the bottom of the strike zone. Already laid off it. And Derek just didn't get the call.
So a full count with one out. O'Malley will probably be moving with the pitch. Holland, with that thought in mind, going to drive him back. Heredia hitting in the number 1 spot. He'll be followed by Franklin Gutierrez, the right fielder. O'Malley staying put. Ground ball, base hit to center field. O'Malley making the turn. He's going to third. He will make it without a throw. And the Mariners coming back now. They have runners at the corners and one out for Gutierrez.
Yeah, Reddy is only hitting .213. But he's swinging the bat pretty well against the Rangers. O'Malley, good base running. Never hesitated going around second.
So Heredia at first, O'Malley around at third. Franklin Gutierrez drew a walk in the first. Gutierrez with a 7-game hitting streak coming into play tonight. Takes strike one. Gutierrez in his last 9 ball games has hit .429 on 12 for 28. Eric Holland dealing with a tough guy up there in a run-producing situation. Check swing. They will appeal to Dale Scott at first. He said no swing. 1-1. Hits are even at 4 in this game. The Rangers leading 2-1 at the moment. And runners at first and third and one out here in the Mariner 3rd inning. Breaking ball a little bit low. It's 2-1. RBI against left-handed pitching this year. Eric Hosmer, the world's left-handed hitter, has the most at 35 in the American League. Franklin Gutierrez second with 32. CANO and SEAGER right behind him with 30, as is Nelly Cruz. Three and one. Derek in danger of losing Gutierrez for the 2nd straight time. Robinson Cano is in the on-deck circle. Tough to decide whether you'd rather pitch to Gutierrez 3-1 or to Cano with a new count. You're going to find out. That's a ball 4 and a walk that'll load him up for Cano.
Now, Gutierrez against left-handed pitching is pretty tough. You're right. You groove a fastball to him 3-1, and we've seen the result of that occasionally. He's hit 14 home runs this year, and he's hot his last 9 games. He's hit 3 home runs and knocked in 10 runs in his last 9 games.
And Doug Brocail out there to assess the situation, give his input to Derek Holland and Robinson Chirinos. Now, Cano grounded into a double play in the 1st inning. 10 career grand slams for the 7-time All-Star. Rangers shade him around to the right. Odor about 3 steps toward first base from his normal position. Ball 1. Cano 86 RBI. That is second on the Mariner club. Second to Kyle Seager. 32 home runs. Second to Nelson Cruz. One ball, 1 strike.
They got Cano looking for a strike right there and got him to swing at a bad pitch.
In the last 16 games, Cano a .419 average, 7 RBI, 4 home runs. He's hit safely in 15 of those 16 games. Holland's got his work cut out for him. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bases full of Mariners. Laid off that breaking ball. 2-1. One thing Holland has been able to do is pitch well with runners in scoring position lately. He's kept them down under a 200 mark. Tough guy, though, in a run-producing situation here in Robinson Cano. Good fastball, got in on his fists. 2-2. Well, in the first inning, had a man on for Cano, and he blistered it up the middle. Well, the Rangers turned it into 2. Holland would love a similar outcome right here.
He's got Cano to swing at 2 bad pitches, a breaking ball well outside and that fastball well inside. Nothing near the strike zone. He's got 2 strikes on him.
Cano settling back in. Holland ready to work. Got him swinging.
Oh, boy, you won't see that at bat very often.
Big breaking ball and a huge strikeout for Holland. 2 out, bases still loaded. And Nelly Cruz coming up.
Yeah, Cano's not a big strikeout guy, but he really, with the bases loaded, expanded his strike zone in this at bat. Those pitches weren't even close. You see the grid, the 2 sliders away are, boy, almost a foot outside, and the fastball in was the same.
So a huge strikeout for Holland. 2 gone now. Nelly Cruz hit the ball sharply right up the middle, but Rangers had their second baseman Rougned Odor there. Hit hard but pulled foul. 0-1. Cruz this year with the bases loaded, 2 for 11. See the Ranger overshift. 3 infielders with Odor, Andrus, and Profar on the left side of the diamond. Holland trying to work out of a real tough spot here in the 3rd inning. Chop foul, 0-2. Holland been able to get both Cano and Cruz to expand their strike zones a bit. Let's see if he can take advantage of that for the second straight hitter. 260 average for Nelly Cruz with runners in scoring position. 0-2 pitch. Mind you, Nelson Cruz now 5 out of 17 against Holland with 2 home runs. Got O'Malley, Heredia, and Gutierrez around the diamond. Another chopper foul. Derek Holland has won 2 of his last 3 starts in this ballpark. ERA of just over 3. Big pitch here, 1-2. Got him swinging.
What a pitch.
Up the ladder at 95, which we haven't seen from Holland tonight. CRUZ is gone. The bases remain loaded. We will go to the 4th inning. Rangers leading 2-1. And now let's go to Rick Renner in our Rooms to Go lounge. Chili Company Dollar Hot Dog Night is coming up on Wednesday, September 21st. Rangers playing the Los Angeles Angels that night. Head on out to the ballpark early and enjoy all the hot dogs you need for just $1 each. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or you can call 972-RANGERS. Derek Holland strikeouts of Robinson Cano and Nelson Cruz with the bases full in the 3rd inning, maintaining that Ranger 2-1 lead.
Yeah, he saved that mid-90s fastball for Nelly Cruz. It's the only one he's thrown tonight. Don't know that he's thrown one in the 3 starts since he's been back from the disabled list. Not sure he's thrown one all year, but that sure came at a nice time right there.
Sure did.
2 huge strikeouts with bases loaded.
Jurickson Profar starting off the Ranger 4th. Down on the count, no balls, 2 strikes. Right back to Walker. 1 gone. Well, Profar 0 for 2, a couple of ground outs. Next will be Elvis Andrus. Now the Rangers trying to even this series. They have won 12 of 18 against the Mariners coming into the last ball game of the season between the 2 of them. It's tonight. They're 5-4 so far here at Safeco Field this year. Elvis Andrus, a fly ball to center, his first time. He rips this one to left field. Heredia going back, reaches up and drops it after he had the ball in his glove. Elvis into second. And we'll see how that's ruled. Elvis, I don't think he can hit a ball harder than that.
Yeah, if that's not a double, they got to get a new scorekeeper. Yeah, he hit that ball just as hard, I think, as the home run he hit the other night.
Yeah.
That ball just jumped off his bat. Almost a beautiful play by Heredia, who on the ball hit directly over his head, hooking a little bit, got a jump, showed some speed, and almost corralled this ball in front of the warning track. Just couldn't quite keep it in the glove. Beautiful try, though.
That is a double for Elvis, and that's his 4th double of this series. So, Andrus in scoring position with 1 out. Robinson Chirinos now. To center field, right at Leonis Martin. 2 gone. You can hear the click on that. 99.3 miles an hour off the bat of Elvis Andrus.
Stayed in his glove for a while, but he never really controlled it.
Yeah, Heredia looks pretty good out there. For a guy who just was kind of languishing and finally signed a minor league contract for the Mariners. He can do a few things pretty well.
He can definitely throw. Who knows what would have happened if he didn't throw out Desmond at the plate in the 3rd inning. Number one, that run would have scored. There would have been 1 less out. The inning might have gone on longer. It turned into a real big inning, so that was a huge play.
2 outs here with Andrus at second. Nomar Mazara takes strike 1. Nomar has walked and flied to left field tonight. .274 average. The Ranger leadoff man of late. O'Malley takes care of that 2-hopper, and that'll do it. Rangers get a 1-out double from Elvis, but strand him at second. We're going to the bottom of the 4th inning in Seattle. Rangers leading 2-1. Ford dealer today for incredible deals, and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Well, a cool evening here in Seattle. Rangers on top 2-1 as Derek Holland goes out for the bottom of the 4th inning. Kyle Seager, Dae-Ho Lee, and Leonys Martin for the Mariners. Seager struck out the first time that he faced Holland tonight. First pitch to him, a breaking ball in the front door for strike 1. Seager a .291 average, and well, you mentioned Texas Rangers to Kyle Seager, his eyes light up. He is just ripped on him every time that he's faced, and he's going to dunk one into center for a base hit. Lead-off single here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, you got Seager to strike out on a slider in the 2nd inning. And that time he almost swung and missed at it. And he just hit it right off the end of the bat. Cued it just barely over Elvis's head. Right off the end of the bat.
So Seager aboard with the 5th Mariner hit of the night. Now Dae-Ho Lee coming up. Elvis pulling a little Adrian Beltre on us. Dae-Ho Lee, it is 14th home run of the year, his first time there. Hit it right down the right field line. He sliced one that just got inside the foul pole. 14 home runs, 49 RBI for Lee. Holland with a 1-0 pitch. Lee spent a number of years in the Korean baseball organization, also played in Japan for 3 years. A lot of home runs wherever he has made a stop. And Holland missing high. It's 3 balls and no strikes. Derek in danger of allowing the first 2 runners to get aboard here in the 4th inning. Leonis Martin, the center fielder, will follow. Leonis looking at the bench and saying, "Do you want me to bunt if he gets on?" Find out if there was an answer given to him or not. 3-1 to Lee. Unless, of course, Derek can get the double play, then you don't have to worry about it.
Then you can bunt for a base hit.
The hot zone for Dae-Ho Lee. Up and into, down and away. That's unique. 3-2. Rangers pretty much straight away against Lee. Don't shade him one way or the other. The middle of the infield pulled into double play depth. Payoff pitch is high and tight. Ball 4. There are 2 aboard with nobody out.
Well, you'd have to think that Martin would be bunting right here, even though he had a base hit his last time up against Derek.
Well, the last time Derek was in a big jam, our AT&T high-speed internet replay will show you how he dealt with it. He got CANO to go fishing, and then he went up the ladder a bit with Nelly Cruz. Back-to-back punch-outs got him out of a bases-loaded 1-out jam last inning. And now he is right back in hot water here, 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Rangers got together the entire infield on the mound to discuss what the defensive plans were if Leonis Martin is asked to bunt. 2 schools of thought with Martin, the number 7 hitter. Some managers don't like to have the bunt put on because you have the 8th and 9th hitters fouling, but you know the book would say you bunt. That is not what Leonis Martin is up there to do right now, at least on that first pitch.
Well, he had a good swing the last time up, so Scott Service might like the matchup based on the way Martin swung the bat the first time up. Might feel like the Rangers scoring a lot of runs. He doesn't want to just play for a small inning. Wants to go for a big inning.
1-0 pitch. Pulled foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Derek Holland trying to figure out a way to get Leonis Martin to do something favorable for the Rangers. Back to the plate comes Holland. Up the middle, into center field, a base hit. Broken bat looper. And that's going to load the bases with nobody out for Iannetta.
2 base hits by left-hand hitters that just barely blooped over Elvis's head. SEAGER cued one right off the end of the bat, and Martin sounded like he broke his bat. Got jammed and hit that little blooper. Surprised that ball went far enough to get over the infielder's head.
Well, nobody out. Rangers leading 2-1, but that lead in jeopardy here. Iannetta, the hitter. Chris Iannetta called out on strikes his first time up there. Rangers will play the infield back with nobody out. Base hit down the line. 1 run is home. Lee being waved around. He will score. Into 3rd, Leonis Martin, a 2-run double for Iannetta. He has turned this game around. The Mariners lead it 3-2.
They got a hanging breaking ball. He hit it right off the end of the bat. It didn't hit it all that hard, and just barely over Adrian's head, but it was a good pitch to hit. And it'll bring in a couple of runs.
So, still nobody out. A base hit, a walk, a base hit, and a double. That has created 2 runs. Second and third. Sean O'Malley had a single to left his first time. Holland's first pitch. In for a strike. Mariners now 3 runs on 7 hits tonight. Rangers 2 runs on 5 hits. 1-1. Alex Claudio loosening in the Ranger bullpen.
Derek has had to work hard the second inning and especially the third inning to pitch out of that jam. So his pitch count's up there at 75 pitches right now.
One and two. O'Malley 0 for 4 this year in getting that runner home from third with less than 2 out. Terry Collin trying to make it 0 for 5. Leonis Martin, the runner at third in this situation. Popped him up, and it is going to be 0 for 5. Elvis will put the clamps on it. 1 gone. Holland gets the first out. Now Guillermo Heredia will come to the plate.
Got ball in on him. Good pitch up and in. Jammed him. Top of the strike zone. Inside corner. Infield back. So ground ball toward the middle will bring in a run. Ground ball to third or first might be different.
Heredia 1 for 2, having singled to center in the third. Off speed for strike 1. Heredia 8 runs driven in. Holland still working from the stretch with runners at second and third. Tapper by the mound. That's going to get the run home. Odor can't handle it. Safely aboard Heredia. It's a 4-2 Seattle lead.
Boy, they're cornering the market on weak hits this inning. Seager, Martin, little bloopers to center. Now this little ball off the end of the bat just gets by Derek's glove. Frustrating inning. Just couldn't quite turn around and make the play on it.
And considering how far Odor had to go, probably not going to be able to throw him out from there even if he does make the pickoff.
Now Heredia gets down the line pretty well.
Yep, and that's an infield single and an RBI for Heredia. So 3 runs across the inning, still just 1 out with runners at the corners. And Franklin Gutierrez steps in. Gutierrez has walked both times that he's come to the plate tonight. Iannetta down at third. Heredia over at first. Holland fires strike 1. Franklin Gutierrez, all but 2 of his home runs this year have come against left-handed pitchers. Fouled off. 1 ball, or no balls, and 2 strikes. Gutierrez also pretty impressive over the last couple of years. The home runs, 29 of them, fewer than 400 at bats. Holland's 0-2 instead, going to first to drive Heredia back. Robinson Chirinos flashing the signs out. Holland to the plate. We'll try another 0-2 pitch. Derek now up over 80. That was his 82nd pitch of the night. Holland checking the runners. 1-2. Gutierrez, 6 double plays off his bat this year. Majors a couple of steps to the left with Odor and Andrus. Chopper foul. Well, Holland able to work out of a bases loaded 1-out jam last inning. But in back-to-back innings, pretty tough to escape a similar situation. 33 pitches in the third with no damage. 23 pitches here in the fourth, 3 runs across. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
Derek's thrown 85 pitches. Boy, they've made him work. And again, they've had four hits this inning, but 3 of them, 1 infield dribbler and 2 bloopers to center field, just barely over shortstop. Not like they're hitting the ball that hard.
That's off the plate inside. 2-2. Gutierrez settling back in as Holland reads the signs. Another foul ball.
Keeps getting a little piece of it every time.
Now Holland okays the sign. He is ready to work. Mariners with 3 here in the 4th inning have taken a 4-2 lead. Derek trying to keep it right there. Just missed the outside corner.
Might get there. Good try.
So full count to Gutierrez. With 1 out, Gutierrez trying to get aboard to fill up things. Robinson Cano awaiting his 2nd at bat in as many innings. Heredia getting his lead from first as Holland checks him. He's staying put. 3-2 pitch. Got him swinging.
It took a while, but he finally made a pitch, and Gutierrez couldn't touch it. Took a little bit off. Almost worked like a changeup to get him out in front of it. Well, one more shot at Cano. He struck him out. Men on base the last time up. Good breaking ball down and in. Got Gutierrez. Last time up, Cano swung at 3 pitches way out of the strike zone. A couple breaking balls and a fastball in.
That was a 10-pitch at bat to Gutierrez. Holland finally came out on top of it. Cano, with that strikeout, is also grounded into a double play. 0 for 2 tonight. Cano with an 11-game hitting streak. Trying to extend it to a dozen here this evening. He has had no luck making contact with that pitch tonight.
No, at least that one was a strike.
During his 11-game streak, Cano has hit .405. Holland trying to handle him for the 3rd straight time. Oh, and 2. He's got Cano shaking his head now.
Cano's thinking, all right, he's going to keep throwing me the breaking ball away. I remember that fastball he ran in on my fists in the last at bat. Might try that. And Derek's thinking along the same lines. How can I get him right here? I'll throw my 92nd pitch in the 4th inning.
Tried the fastball and missed down and away. Not a bad idea. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cano waiting as Holland sets. In the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nice job by Robinson Chirinos keeping that ball right at home plate. Yeah, Robinson's going to go out and talk to Derek, see exactly what he's thinking. Chirinos back down behind the plate now, and he's ready to go. Holland leans in for the sign. The 2-2 offering is coming. Tapper out to short. Elvis charging, throws, got him. No damage minimized, but Mariners take the lead. They get 3 runs in strand 2 after 4. Seattle 4, Texas 2. A 4-2 lead over the Rangers. Rangers come to bat here in the Top of the 5th inning. Cool night here at Safeco Field. It'll be Ian Desmond leading off. Carlos Beltran, Adrian Beltre will follow. Mariners 4 runs on 8 hits, had 4 hits in their 3-run 4th inning. And helped out by a walk in between. The walker scored. Ian Desmond will start things off. He is 1 for 1 tonight. Walked in the first, had a single to center in the 3rd inning. Taijuan Walker back to the hill after a long top of the inning, or bottom of the inning, I should say. 1 ball, no strikes. Walker tonight, 73 pitches through 4 innings. He and his mound opponent Derek Holland have been put through the ringer out there.
Boy, Derek's what did he end up with? 96 pitches? 95, 96 pitches in 4 innings.
1-1 to Desmond. Well, Ian Desmond, we talked about him in our pregame conversation. 21 home runs, 80 RBI, 20 stolen bases, 99 runs scored. Would have had 100 had it not been for Guillermo Heredia's great throw. 4 players in team history with those numbers, those thresholds. Palmeiro, Pudge, Soriano. Out of play to the right. Still 1-2. Desmond hitting at an even 290. Another 1-2 pitch. Will even the count. Walker not exactly in a big hurry to make this next pitch. Well to right field. Going back, Gutierrez at the wall. Goodbye. Desmond going to opposite field. His 22nd home run of the year. It's now a 1-run game at 4-3.
Good game for Ian. A walk, a single, and a home run now. Just gave up 3. Come right back, right off the bat, and get 1 of them back. Opposite field home runs in this game. One by Ian and Daeho Lee right down the line. Hit more of a fly ball. That was a line shot. Couldn't tell off the bat it was going to go that far. He just kept on going. Saw how hard he hit that shot out of here a couple rows back. Fastball. Wanted that away. Comes right down in the middle of the plate. Right back to the middle of the plate.
Beltran couldn't quite check his swinging time. Mike Malinsky down there making the call. And another shot of Desmond. He had a pretty good idea when he left the batter's box that wasn't going to stay in the ballpark.
It did. He was going to try to get a triple.
That's the 24th home run that Taijuan Walker has given up this year in just over 100 innings. Slowly tapped down to first. Lee on to Walker, 1 out. Carlos Beltran grounds out. He's now 1 for 3.
Well, a lot of kids out there.
Well, here's Adrian Beltre. Adrian 1 for 2 and a single in the 3rd inning. Breaking ball hangs high to him. 1 ball and no strikes. Walker with his 83rd pitch of the night. And he's behind 2-0. Fouled straight down, 2-1. And home run, we mentioned Ian Desmond is 22nd of the year. He's creeping up on his all-time most for a season. It was 25 back with the Nationals in 2012. Had 24 in 2014. So he's within striking distance here as we go down the final 3 weeks of the season. 2-2 to Adrian. Line to left field.
Gee, we're talking about how many times he swings and misses. Not very often. And all the pitches he swings that are out of the strike zone. There's another one. He couldn't wait to swing at that hanger.
Did you hear that when you were young, learning the game of baseball? Did you hear about chopping wood?
Yeah.
And that looked exactly like a guy swinging an axe. Going up over his head.
Look at Lee telling
Yeah,
how
Lee.
he hit that ball. How'd you do that, man?
Watch this thing. Yeah.
It's about, even with his nose, there's how you do it, Deho. You go down on one knee. That's just a thing of beauty to watch that. That's unique. There's no one else that does that.
You're right. You are right.
Vladdy used to take some great crazy swings and hit some crazy balls, but I don't remember him ever doing that.
Not going down on one knee. Man. Almost 55% of the swings with 2 strikes puts in play since the All-Star break. That's incredible. So, Rangers with their 7th hit of the night. Beltre, another multi-hit game. Here's Rougned Odor, who is 1 for 2 with an RBI single. 0-1. Odor, 283 the average, 82 runs driven home for the Rangers second baseman. One ball and 1 strike. Third highest percentage of balls pulled for him to the right side of the diamond the last 7 days. Most of the balls he does hit and hits hard are right center field to right field. See the big shift put on by the Mariners. Third baseman SEAGER playing a normal shortstop spot. Everybody else on the right side of the diamond. Chopper just foul outside the line. Did I get Odor's foot? Or did he twist it? Let's see here. No, it did. Yeah, got him right on the outside of the foot. Still a ball and 2 strikes. And our analytics stat of the day for you. Highest swing percentage, Rougned Odor, swinging at just over 54% of the pitches he sees. Adam Jones, the most, up there at better than 61% of them.
That's a pretty good battle between the 2 teammates, Jones and
Yeah.
Scope.
Yeah. Trying to outdo each other.
They're wailing away at everything.
Rougned just fouling pitches off till that foot starts feeling better. Take a full swing at it. Beltre at first with 1 out. The run across on Ian Desmond's leadoff home run here in the 5th inning. Rangers trailing by 1. There goes Beltre, and the pitch is lined foul. Beltre got to second.
He knew he had that stolen.
Yep.
Walker wasn't looking at him. Got a little bit bigger lead and a huge jump. But nothing Roogie could do because Roogie's got 2 strikes on him. Indians trying not to get shut out in the stolen base category this year.
Still 1-2. Beltre back there. Walker will check him a little bit this time. High and tight.
It's the one he's got to lay off of right there.
Yep. 2 balls, 2 strikes. For the leaderboard tonight. Talking about the Rangers, single season home runs by a second baseman. Alfonso Soriano hit 36 of them back in 2005. Kinsler had 32 in 2011, 31 in 2009, and Rugnet. Two and two with 1 out. Got him swinging. Breaking ball. Down out of the strike zone. Walker wins that long battle. For Walker, just his second strikeout of the night. So 2 outs. Now Mitch Moreland will try and keep his inning going. Mitch is grounded to second and fouled out to third. Moreland at 247 with the average. 0-1. Nothing and 2. Walker okays the sign. A check over his shoulder of Beltre at first. Defensively, the Mariners in the same spot they were for Rugnet Odor, shifted way around to the right for Moreland. In tight, and the count evens now at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And this would probably be Walker's last inning. Next pitch would be his 100th pitch, so he's thrown a lot of pitches in 5 innings.
Three and 2. So now with 2 outs, Adrian Beltre will get a running start from first. Moreland batting 6th, trying to keep this inning alive for Jurickson Profar. Walker sets. Time called. Not exactly a frenetic pace that being played tonight. Beltre on the move, and the pitch fouled away. So Adrian will retrace his steps, and we'll try the 3-2 again. Walker has the sign he wants. Another foul ball. inning by inning. Every other inning has been rather lengthy for Taijuan Walker. 27 in the first, 25 in the third, 30 here in the fifth. 30, and he's only facing his fifth hitter. BELTRE again on the move. And another foul ball.
Yeah, that's a lot of pitches to 5 hitters.
Yes, it is.
He doesn't have to save anything up. He knows this is his last inning. Might be his last batter.
Tonight, about 60% fastballs, just under 60%. There's going to be a 10th pitch to Mitch Moreland. BELTRE's out of gas. He's Evan Scribner, meanwhile, loosening in the Mariner bullpen. He's been loose for 3 hitters. He's thrown 60 pitches out there. Another 3-2 is coming. Got him swinging. Walker gets the strikeout. Rangers gone in the 5th, but Ian Desmond gets him on the board. A run on 2 hits. Halfway through the ball game, Mariners leading 4-3. Home game of the season. The first 15,000 fans that come out to the ballpark on Saturday, October 1st, receive a Colby Lewis bobblehead. That's courtesy of Kroger. Come on out and support your Rangers. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS. See Colby on Sunday, not the bobblehead, the real thing. Sunday, the Angels down in Anaheim. CRUZ, first ball swinging, and that ground ball. A high throw, but Mitch Moreland doing some fancy footwork over there. Gets the tag on Nelly Cruz going by. So 1 pitch, 1 away here in the 5th.
I don't want to wear it out, but Derek gave up 3 runs last inning, and several of the hits were, well, one was an infield dribbler that drove in a run, and 2 little bloopers to center field kind of set the inning up. And he's trying to come out now with 95 pitches and get through the 5th inning nice and quickly and tidily. Cruz hit that ball solidly, but right at somebody. That's what he couldn't get the last inning.
Yeah,
couldn't get one right at somebody.
Kyle Seager started that 4th inning off with a base hit to center field. Takes a breaking ball for strike 1. Seager 1 out of 2, having struck out the other time. 0-1.
But with a couple of men on, he did strike out Gutierrez and get CANO on a little tapper to shortstop. So kind of finished off that 4th inning well. Trying to have a nice quick inning here in the 5th.
That's into right field, a base hit for Seager. He's 2 for 3. Like a breaking ball that kind of hung up a little bit. Seager able to get it by Odor.
Yeah, that one didn't get down and away like he wanted it. First time up, he struck Seager out, and he did do that with a pitch. At that time, this one hangs a little bit. Seager hit this ball pretty well, and he should have hit that ball well.
So the 9th base hit of the night for the Mariners. And again, Alex Claudio loosening in that Ranger bullpen.
Seager led off that 4th inning, and he had one of those little bloopers that started the inning. And a pretty good pitch from Derek.
Dae-Ho Lee, a home run and a walk. He has scored 2 runs. The RBI on his solo blast. Oh, and 1. Lee looks kind of like the guy that if you get it anywhere but down and out over the plate, probably going to have pretty good luck against it. But you put it in that one area, and it doesn't matter whether you hit it to right or hit it to left. He's got good enough power down in there. Didn't hit that one right on the screws, but that's about the one area where he's going to make pretty consistent contact. He's 2 for 2 with a walk tonight.
A high changeup. Hit it off the end of the bat, but he got the bat on it because of the location.
So Jeff Bannister making the slow walk out to the mound. Looks like it's going to do it for Derek Holland. Jeff points to the bullpen. He wants Alex Claudio to come on into the ball game. So Holland finished after a 100-pitch outing tonight. Derek leaves trailing 4-3, a couple of men on, and 1 out here in the 5th. Pitching change underway at Safeco Field. We're coming back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Alex Claudio has entered the ball game to take over for Derek Holland with 2 on and 1 out here in the 5th inning. Alex Claudio appearing in his 31st ball game of the year. And we've talked about Alex, how important a role he has played coming out of that bullpen in situations like these where the opposition is making some noise, a fairly close game here in the middle innings, and he's done a great job of shutting him down. He's asked to do it here again with Leonys Martin, who's 2 for 2 at the plate.
6 or 7 times he's come in and had 2 or more innings of shutout ball. So that's exactly what the doctor needs to order for him today.
Martin, a pair of singles. And he's down in the count now. No balls and 2 strikes.
A little bit different look from a lefty.
Leonys Martin saw this a number of times from his station out in center field when he was playing behind Alex Claudio. Now he's got to face it from the other side. Oh, 2. Martin tonight a single in the second, a single in the fourth. In his 4th inning single, he came around to score. He has Seager at second, Dae-Ho Lee at first. Grounder foul. And we will try it again in a ball and 2 strikes. Leonys Martin, not the easiest guy to double up. He gets down that line pretty well. The Rangers love to have a sharp ground ball. The best place to be would be right at Elvis Andrus, where he's playing right near the bag at second. How about back to Claudio? Can they turn it? Yes, they do. Nice job. Didn't stay in Elvis's glove very long. A 1-6-3 double play. And that takes care of the Mariners in the 5th. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 man left. After 5, 4-3 Seattle. Sonic Slam Inning brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $100 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Eleanor Brennecke from Fort Worth will win $100. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Eleanor is going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Evan Scribner has come out of the Mariner bullpen to take over here in the 6th inning. Taijuan Walker works 5 innings of about 103 pitches. He gives way to Evan Scribner. Scribner, just his 3rd ball game this year with the Mariners. Had some arm difficulties, and he is back with the big club now. 143 opponent's average. Saw Scribner the other day here working inning. He will be working to the bottom 3rd of the Ranger order here in the 6th. Erickson Profar, Elvis Andrus, and Robinson Chirinos. Rangers trailing 4-3. They have been out hit 10-7 by Seattle tonight. Profar stepping in 0 for 2. He has grounded out twice, once back to the mound, once to short. 0-1. Jurickson, a .255 average as he faces Scribner. Just a little hello, how are you? Pitch up and in.
With Scribner's arm action, it looks like he's throwing 95 miles an hour, but he's not.
Well, if you kind of look like that, I mean. Line drive, CANO had to reach back to his left very quickly. Hooking line drive. Nice reactions for out number 1.
He either didn't pick that up off the bat or it was hooking, one or the other, because he went one way and had to reach back the other way, kind of like Elvis the other night. I think it was hooking.
Yeah. CANO, kind of a sheepish grin on his face. You know, 1 gone. Here's Elvis Andrus, who is 1 for 2. He blistered a double into and out of the glove of Guillermo Heredia in left field last time. Strike 1 to it. Elvis at .297 with the average. Another foul. Elvis 0 for 7 in his career against Evan Scribner. Scribner, you remember, spent a lot of time with the Oakland A's. A ball and 2 strikes. %50 of the time, and he's put the swings in play. That's the highest percentage in Major League Baseball. And not that time. I'm not going to swing the bat at that strike 3. 2 gone. Got crossed up on Scribner. Now here's Robinson Chirinos. Chirinos hit by a pitch and scored back in the 3rd inning. Fly ball to center in the 4th. Chirinos 0 for 4 against Scribner. A ball and a strike. The Rangers trying to split this series with the Mariners. It's been a back and forth affair in this series. Mariners winning the first game on Monday afternoon. Rangers came back to win Tuesday. Mariners romping last night. And in a tight affair tonight. Mariners leading 4-3 as we play in the 6th. 2-2 the count. Now Scribner ready, back to the plate he comes. Full count. Chirinos trying to extend this 6th inning. If he's able to get aboard, Nomar Mazara would get a shot at Scribner here in the 6th. Payoff pitch on the way. Hammered foul. Robinson and a tomahawk in that one of Scribner. Pulled it well foul. top hand in that swing. Popped him up. Seager makes the grab, and that'll do it. Scribner works a 1-2-3 inning. Rangers gone in the 6th. 5.5 have gone by as the Mariners leading the Rangers 4-3. Coca-Cola family pack and includes 4 tickets, 4 jumbo hot dogs, 4 Coke soft drinks, 2 Kids Zones wristbands, and 1 souvenir program. A family pack is an ideal way to come out and support your Rangers at Globe Life Park when they take on the Los Angeles Angels on Monday, September 19th through Wednesday, the 21st. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials to get your Coca-Cola family pack today. Alex Claudio back out to the hill. He came on to get the double play grounder that ended the 5th inning. A 4-3 Seattle lead. It'll be Chris Iannetta, Sean O'Malley, and Guillermo Heredia against Alex Claudio. Eric Holland went the first 4 in the 3rd innings, gave up all 4 runs. They were earned on 10 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Chris Iannetta had a big 2-run double in that 3-run 4th inning. Elvis charging, and with Iannetta, a less than fleet-footed catcher running, he's able to throw him out. 1 gone.
Alex Claudio's come in and faced 2 hitters, and they've both done the same thing. Little dribblers right off the end of the bat. One went for a double play, and it's a nice first out of the 6th inning.
Now Sean O'Malley. He'd love to have a nice quick 1-2-3 inning here and let the Rangers get back into the dugout and start swinging the bats again. O'Malley is 1 out of 2. Ball 1. O'Malley singled back in the 3rd inning. Last time up, popped out to short. Claudio to the plate. Trying to bunt, and it's bounced straight up in the air behind home plate. Had 3 Rangers and the home plate umpire Dan Iasonia all looking around for the ball and was up in the air.
Now, Robinson knew this ball went down and hit the ground, so he's trying to cover fair territory. Had no idea exactly where it was. Doesn't matter if it's behind you. What you don't want to do is look behind you and have it laying fair.
Yeah.
So he had fair territory covered. And there's no way he could have seen where that one went with all the gear on.
Malley thought it was such a good idea, he was going to try it again. 2-1. O'Malley, a very versatile player. We've seen him in the outfield on a number of occasions, playing the different spots on the infield. 2-2. Wind starting to pick up here. It's cooled off noticeably. Safeco Field tonight. A little more brisk than it had been. Chopper off the plate. That's a foul ball. O'Malley trying to kill all the worms around home plate.
Having a lot of good swings at Alex.
Last time we saw Claudio in a ball game, it's the first game of this series. Worked 2 1/3. That kind of an outing you were talking about, Tom. Shut down the Mariners on just a couple of hits. No runs scored.
He's earned his stripes in the bullpen. He was a guy that was kind of called up, sent down, called up, sent down. Another ball hit like that. 3 straight balls hit like that. 2 of them back to Alex. But right now, I think he's a valuable guy out there. Jeff Bannister really utilizes him well and takes advantage of the talents that he brings. Got a pretty good runner, and Alex knows it. So he turns and fires to first base to get the out.
And Jeff Bannister making his way out to the mound. So he wants to go to the bullpen now with the top of the order, and Guillermo Heredia due up. So nice job by Alex Claudio. He gets 4 outs, and he will leave with nobody on base. And Keone Kela is going to make his way in for the bullpen. Pitching change underway. We're back right after this.
Comes in, and we take a trip back to our lunch hour today. Before he throws his first pitch, we show you how good the place was. It's called Salumi, which is Italian for cured meat. And you know it's a good place when the sign on the window says, "The line forms this way. Please don't block our neighbor's entrance." And that's exactly what greeted us at Salumi today. We heard about this place from one of the Mariners radio broadcasters, Rick Riz, who swears by it. And he gave us a little tip. He said, get there late, have a late lunch, and you won't have much of a line. That's all we did. We only had to wait in that long of a line, maybe 3-4 people in front of us. Sandwiches are all made from cured pork, and much of it flown in from Italy, I should say, on a daily basis. And so Jeff Irwin, our birthday boy today, by the way, had the cured paprika salami sandwich with pepperoncini and Fantina relish, and I'm telling you, the relish especially was the key on that. Made it spectacular. Jeff says it's the best sandwich he has eaten all season long on the road, and goodness knows we've eaten a lot of sandwiches on the road. And then I had this one here, and this is a beef tongue with a pesto and an olive oil and onions and peppers. And for me, it was the second best sandwich I've had on the road all year, which is high praise. Very, very good sandwiches, and a great tip from our radio pal on the Mariners side, Rick Riz, guys.
John, you are an excellent food critic, an excellent food salesman. You couldn't make me take a bite of that second sandwich if you put a gun to my head.
It's beef. It's just beef tongue.
No, it's a tongue.
They were out of the oxtail. That's what Rick told me was the main thing to get the oxtail. They were out of the oxtail, so I went.
Sorry you missed a chance at that.
I went with the beef tongue.
Oh, good. Boy, that did.
There's a lot of places you've been that I couldn't wait to go, but that's not one of them.
I think you'd be surprised how much you like that sandwich.
No, I won't, because I'm never going to try it.
You're never going to find out. All right. They got no peanut butter and jelly there.
Oh,
look
man.
at that thing.
No,
that
I can't
beautiful.
look at it.
It's tender.
What's that white stuff?
Now those are just onions.
No,
on the top?
the white stuff in the middle of the meat.
Well, I think that's
I mean, part of it was red, but what was that white stuff?
That's marbling.
No, that's marbling, all right.
That's marble. That's where you get the flavor.
That's not going to marble my veins, I know that.
You're so healthy, Tom. You're so healthy.
I'm just giving you a hard time, John.
No, it was great. Yeah, I'm telling you, you'd like it.
I believe you. I believe you. I'm glad we're not coming back this year.
Well, Heredia draws the walk from Keone Kellett. And Franklin Gutierrez up there now. 1 ball and no strikes. Kellett, saw Keone here on Tuesday. Worked an inning in that Ranger win. Profar and Robinson Chirinos out to talk to him just for a moment. 1 ball, no strikes. He walked Heredia on a 3-2 pitch. Franklin Gutierrez has walked twice tonight. Both those at-bats were against the starter, Derek Holland. That is right at the top of the strike zone. 1-1. Kellett, a check of first. Didn't really mean to do it. Gutierrez now down on the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rangers shifted over to the left for Gutierrez. Rougned Odor playing on the shortstop side of second. Elvis playing in the hole between second and third. And now seeing the last swing by Gutierrez, or check swing, they decided to move Odor back. The pitch just outside. Target set inside, and even though our Fox tracker would tell you that was on the corner, pretty tough to get that call when you're on the other side of the plate from where the target was set. Now the 2-2. Got him swinging. Good hook. And Kellett, a walk and a strikeout, disposes of the Mariners. 1 left aboard. We're going to the 7th. It's the Mariners leading 4-3. summary. Did Odor with an RBI single in the third inning. Rangers had the lead at that point. Odor. And then Chris Iannetta in the fourth, a 2-run double. That put the Mariners back on top. Getting a run closer on Ian Desmond's opposite field home run. The Rangers, that was in the fifth. That made it a 4-3 Seattle lead, and that's where we stand as the Rangers come to bat here in the seventh inning. In the top of the order to face Evan Scribner. Nomar Mazara, Ian Desmond, and Carlos Beltran, the first three to do the swinging against Scribner. Nomar 0 for 2, a walk back in the first inning. Since then, his fly to left, grounded to short. Scribner had a 1-2-3 sixth and gets out in front of Nomar Mazara. 0-1. Ben Gamel has entered the ball game to take over in right field for Franklin Gutierrez. Slow breaking ball, line to right, coming on Gamel. He dives to make the catch. Had a hard time reading that ball off the bat, and then recognized it was a sinking liner. Came on and made a fine catch to take at least a base hit away from Nomar Mazara.
That's too bad because he hit that ball right on the barrel. A hooking, sinking line drive that Gamel recovered, dove, and caught. Pretty nice play. Tough way to start the seventh inning.
The one out. Here is Desmond, who is 2 for 2 with a walk, a home run, and a single. 0-1. That opposite field home run from Desmond, leading off the fifth inning, is 22nd of the year. And down on the count now, 0-2. Multi-hit games, of which this is another for Ian Desmond. 52 of them this year. Mookie Betts, the Red Sox, still leading with 58. Altuve 55. Robinson Cano one behind Desmond with 51. Time called. Mariners 4 runs on 10 hits tonight. Rangers 3 runs on 7 hits. Up the middle, that's right where Cano is stationed.
A couple of ropes to go 0 for 2 right there.
No, base is empty for Carlos Beltran. And Jake Diekman loosening in the Ranger bullpen. Beltran tonight, an RBI single and a run scored in the third. 1 for 3 this evening. A little bit high for ball one. Carlos with that average at 299. Going the other way, that is a base hit. And it's going to be a long run over for Heredia. The ball died in foul territory, and Beltran is going to be in scoring position with a 2-out double.
So that's a veteran hitter right there. He saw the 2 ropes that turned into outs. He saw the hole and said, I think I'll just cue one off the end of the bat and get a double. That was the rally that the Mariners put together. They had 3 of those.
That's true. So that double from Beltran not only is going to get him out of the game, he's going to be removed for a pinch runner, but it's going to get Evan Scribner out of the ball game as Scott Service has gone out to the mound. Oh, pitching change again underway here at Safeco Field. Rangers trying to rally back, trailing 4-3. We'll be back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. second and 2 out. Vincent appearing in his 51st ball game of the year. 3-4 with a 358 earned run average. Vincent has an opponent's batting average of just 218. So Vincent on now to face Adrian Beltre. Carlos Gomez has come in to pinch run for Carlos Beltran. Gomez carrying the tying run out there at second here in the 7th inning. Beltre is 2 for 3 tonight, a pair of singles. And Vincent with that cutter on the outside corner for strike 1. Adrian with the 2 base hits, now up to 294 with the average, 92 RBI. Well over 300 in these situations with a runner in scoring position. 0-2. Rangers as a team, a 282 average. That's 3rd in the American League. 3 for 9 tonight. Vincent's 0-2 pitch. A ball and 2 strikes. Lowest strikeout percentage. Beltre 3rd on that list. It is 10.3% of the time, behind Daniel Murphy and Jose Altuve. And like you said, Tom, amazing for a guy who has as big a strike zone sometimes as Adrian does.
I know.
Able to make contact.
A couple of hits in this game. One of them was about eye high that he went down on one knee, hanging curveball and ripped into left field. That's a pretty good stat.
Yeah.
On base percentage like that with 2 strikes.
One and 2 as Vincent is studying the signs. Gomez the lead from second. High in the air to right field. Going back is Gamble. Halfway back on the track, he puts it away, and that'll do it. Well, Beltre gave it a ride, came up about 10 feet short. Rangers get a 2-out double stranded runner. We'll take the stretch here at Safeco. 4-3 Mariners. Previewed for you by Progressive. Finishing up the series here tonight against Seattle. Then it's down the coast. Angels tomorrow night through Sunday afternoon. And then on to Houston to take on the Astros Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Back home for the next to the last homestand starting on Friday the 16th. Oakland comes in, the Angels follow them, and then the final road trip of the regular season, a 3-game swing to Oakland, the 23rd, 4th, and 5th. Well, Jake Diekman has come on into the ball game, the 29-year-old left-hander out of Nebraska. Diekman on the kind of roll that, well, you got to break sometime. He's got to break it sometime. He has appeared in 3 ball games in a row now without retiring a hitter. He's faced 7 batters, has not retired one of them. He needs to get himself righted. The Rangers need to get his ship righted, and that's exactly what he's doing coming into the ball game here. Carlos Gomez stays in the ball game, takes over in left field with NOMAR MAZARA moving from left to right. Robinson Cano leading things off, takes low, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Cano tonight has grounded out twice, once into a double play, and has struck out 0 for 3 this evening. 3.03 average for Cano. Diekman's 2-0 pitch. Now 2-1. Jake Diekman, the first Ranger pitcher not to retire a batter in 3 or more consecutive outings since 2003. Rusman Garcia, the last one that did that. And inside, 3-1 to Cano. Not the kind of record you would particularly cherish. Diekman's next pitch. Lost him. Close, but not quite. And Cano draws the leadoff walk. That'll bring up Nelson Cruz. Cruz tonight has grounded out twice and struck out. Diekman set. And the fastball right down through there. Well, tonight, if it's anything of importance, it looks like Diekman is throwing the ball better. He's not quite as much across himself tonight than he was on that pitch. The inconsistency has been what's really frustrating, I know, for Jake Diekman. He's been trying different things before the game, playing catch and throwing in the bullpen, and just hasn't struck on one yet that's been working for him consistently.
Yeah, sport, it's so difficult. Sometimes it's just easy, everything's working. Come in and it's 1, 2, 3, and then you just can't quite figure it out. And guys in all sports go through that.
Yep.
You get in a groove and it seems easy, and you get out of that groove and you wonder what you were doing when you were doing things so right. Seems like it should be easy to make that adjustment, but it's not.
Yeah, and sometimes it feels like you pick up a baseball you've never picked up before.
I know.
It's crazy.
You remember what you did the day before and it felt great. Now you just don't have the feel for it.
Now back by Cruz. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Cruz a .280 average. Cano, a very short lead at first. Got him swinging. There you go. Good sharp breaking ball. Cruz a strikeout. 1 gone. Good sharp Diekman slider, and Cruz down swinging. Kyle Seager will be next. Seager tonight, 2 for 3, a pair of singles. Struck out in the second, then singled in the fourth, singled in the fifth. Ball 1. Seager now up to 294. Foul ball evens the count. Seager 0 for 6 in previous matchups against Jake Diekman. Just missed down and away, 2-1. CANO drew the leadoff walk. He is at first. One out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. 3-1. Jake back to the plate. That will fill the count. Now Seager, the number 5 hitter in the order. Dae-Ho Lee, the big first baseman, is in the on-deck circle. Robinson Cano getting that lead from first. Hit well to right field. That's going to leave the ballpark. Seager with his 27th home run of the year. The Mariners lead it 6-3.
We've seen Seager hit a lot of home runs and a lot of balls hard. That might have been the hardest ball he's hit against the Rangers. That was a line drive that went 2/3 the way up. The 11th home run that he's hit this year against left-handed pitching. Very comfortable swinging against lefties.
Yep, sure is.
That's probably not where you want to throw it. As a lefty to a lefty inside to Seager. You've got a much better chance if it's down and away. He took advantage of that opportunity.
So Seager now with 90 runs driven in after that 2-run blast. Rangers now trailing by 3, and Dae-Ho Lee fouls off a breaking ball. It's 0-2.
Yeah, on a team with CANO and CRUZ, Seager is the one that leads in RBIs. That ball was really hit hard.
Got him swinging. Lee down on strikes. Second strikeout of the inning for Diekman. 2 away. And Leonis Martin coming up. Before Martin steps in, we are going to send it back to Aaron Hardigan for a Chevy game break. All right, Aaron, thank you. Well, Leonis Martin tonight is 2 for 3. Pair of singles. Last time up in the 5th, grounded into a double play. 2 balls, no strikes. There's the National League wild card Aaron was talking about. San Francisco and the Mets occupying the top 2 spots. St. Louis and then down to Pittsburgh, Miami, and Colorado. Broken bat liner to Odor. And that will do it. But a big 2-run home run by Kyle Seager gets the Mariners on the board again. We'll go to the 8th inning. Seattle 6, Texas 3. Delivers everything you've come to expect and a lot more. You can watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Just visit MLB.tv for details. Now the Rangers come to bat here in the top of the 8th inning, now trailing by 3. It is 6-3 Mariners. Rougned Odor, Mitch Moreland, and Jurickson Profar. First 3 Rangers to do the swinging against Nick Vincent. Vincent came on to get the final out of the 7th inning. And Odor chops that first pitch of the 8th foul for strike 1.
Well, Vincent has become very effective out of the bullpen with a cutter, and I think he throws a cutter around 89 or 90, maybe a slider a little bit less, but both of them hard pitches, both of them breaking away from a right-hand hitter. Not overpowering, but boy, that thing's got some hang time.
Way up in the air and back into the seats, about 10 feet shy of the foul pole.
Well, Rougned had one the other day with the bases loaded that just went foul, kind of like that, only much farther. Had one to deep center field that was caught. Well, Vincent, an important part of the Mariners bullpen right now. Seems like middle relief when they need an out. He's the guy they bring in. He's sneaky. That's 89 miles an hour. But he's got a lot of strikeouts too.
Yeah, one of those guys that can work up in the strike zone, and even though the velocity wouldn't tell you that he can throw it by you, he can.
Yeah, he can. 57 strikeouts in 50 innings.
Odor waiting the 0-2 pitch. Tried to go up there again. That was just a little too high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, Rougned drove in his 82nd run of the year with a 3rd inning single tonight. In tight, 2-2. Now Vincent back to the plate. Oh, that was lashed foul.
Watch out, sports fans.
Watching Odor, he's starting to be the Ranger you talk about that hits the ball consistently hard every time up. Odor waiting for the 2-2. O'Malley, the shortstop, throws out Rougned, 1 gone. Well, the overshift had O'Malley on the first base side of second. And he will stay positioned over there as Mitch Moreland comes up. CANO heading out toward the right field corner with Moreland. Mitch 0 for 3 tonight. Ground out, pop out, strikeout. 0-1. Vincent back to the plate. 0-2. Well, Mitch now, one of those downturns, one for his last 14, is Jose Leclerc starting to loosen in the Ranger bullpen. Got him swinging. 2 gone.
He's very effective up there. Not many good swings. And you wouldn't have many good swings on that pitch. It's way out of the strike zone. But he gets batters to swing at it.
Profar 0 for 3 this evening. Lined out to first last time up. Grounded out the other 2 times. Nothing but strikes from Nick Vincent. Nothing in 1. Outside corner. No balls, 2 strikes. Jurickson waiting. Nick Vincent with the 0-2 pitch. Vincent came on to get the final out of the 7th inning. He has gotten the first 2 outs here in the 8th. A ball and 2 strikes. The Mariners acquired Nick Vincent right at the end of spring training this year. Came over in a trade from San Diego. 2-2. Vincent is a native of the San Diego area, so he signed with his hometown team and made his major league debut back in 2012. CANO. Little flip on to Lee, and that'll do it. Rangers retired in order. Going to the bottom of the 8th at Safeco Field. Mariners leading 6-3 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Of the 8th, and they'll have one more opportunity to try and get this thing righted. It'll be the last game of the season against these Seattle Mariners as we conclude this series and head down the coast to California. Game 1 of a 3-game set with the Angels is tomorrow night. Yu Darvish, who has great numbers and 7 career starts at Angels Stadium against Albert Pujols, who's gotten very, very hot of late and who is always good against the Rangers. That is tomorrow, and you note the coverage time there. AT&T high-speed internet reminds you 8:30 for Rangers Live. First pitch is late night again, but it's a Friday night, so we'll see you tomorrow night at 8:30 for the Rangers and the Angels, guys.
All right, John, thanks. The Angels waiting for the Rangers to come into town. Angels did not play today. Had the day off, so here's Iannetta leading off and talking about the Angels. How about the all-time home run leaders? You get Albert Pujols there at 9th at 589. Then he's the only one that's close to 600 right now. Sammy Sosa, Jim Thome, Ken Griffey Jr., and Willie Mays next on that list, all above 600. Leclerc gets Iannetta, a little tapper back to the mound. That's out number 1 for Jose, 22-year-old right-hander out of the Dominican Republic, appearing in his 6th ball game for the Rangers, his 2nd tour of duty at the big league level this time. League hitting just .240 against him. Worked 7 1/3 innings out of the Ranger bullpen. 1 out, and Sean O'Malley, switch hitter, now will turn around and bat from the left side of the plate against Leclerc. O'Malley 1 for 3 this evening. O'Malley had a single back in the 3rd inning. Got as far as 3rd, but was stranded there. Popped out in the 4th, tapped out in the 6th inning. Back into the seats. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Mariners tonight 6 runs on 11 hits. Rangers 3 runs on 8 hits. Neither club has committed a defensive miscue. Over but low. 2 balls and a strike. Leclerc back to the plate. Another foul ball. But John told you about Yu Darvish starting tomorrow night. Tyler Skaggs, the young left-hander, throwing for the Angels. On Saturday night, be Cole Hamels and Daniel Wright. And then on Sunday afternoon, get a chance to see Colby Lewis in his first outing at the big league level. He and Jared Weaver will match up on that Sunday afternoon affair down in Anaheim. Here's Colby, all set to go after having a tune-up up here in the Pacific Northwest on Monday. Pitched for Spokane in the final regular season game of the A-ball season. 3-2 pitch coming to O'Malley. Got him swinging. A little velocity upstairs, and Leclerc has his first strikeout. 2 gone. And back to the top of the order for Ben Gamble.
Jose definitely has some potential as a late inning bullpen guy. He's got the arm strength, velocity, off speed pitches. He just needs a little seasoning. Definitely has the raw talent to be very successful in his role.
Guillermo Heredia takes strike 1. Heredia tonight, 2 base hits. He is 2 for 3 with an RBI. One and one. Heredia drove in a run in the 4th inning. Got a walk his last time up, the 6th. Out of play. 1 and 2. Jose Leclerc trying to work the first 1-2-3 inning for the Rangers tonight. Gary Collin in the 1st inning only faced 3 batters, but he had a walk in there. Edwin Diaz, the hard-throwing closer for the Mariners, out there in the bullpen. 2-2 to Heredia. Ground ball by the mound. Elvis, quick throw, got it. Ready, a gun down by Elvis Andrus. Nice play by the Rangers shortstop. And that'll do it. That is a 1-2-3 inning. We're going to the ninth. Rangers coming to bat, trailing 6-3. Very tall and thin, Edwin Diaz. Big arm out to the mound to pitch the ninth inning for the Mariners. Diaz will face Elvis Andrus, Robinson Chirinos, and Nomar Mazara. Diaz appearing in his 40th ball game. 12 out of 13 in save opportunities. And he has a save opportunity in front of him tonight, leading 6-3. 227 the opponent's batting average against Diaz. Elvis Andrus starting things off. Elvis 1 for 3 tonight with a double back in the 4th inning. Diaz with the first pitch. All the way to the backstop. That fastball. The upper 90s and buzzing by Elvis. Elvis shaking his head like, ooh, I get my eyes unstuck here. Whoa. Inside corner.
You don't deserve that pitch.
A called strike.
That was a strike.
Diaz, the 3rd round pick back in 2012 for the Mariners. There's that hard slider. Pretty tough combination.
I guess so. 100 miles an hour up and in and 86 miles an hour away.
One, two. Line swinging. One out. Robinson Chirinos now called back to the Ranger dugout. Jared Hoying will come up as a pinch hitter. Jared Hoying, 19 games has appeared in for the Rangers, a .241 average. Strike one. Seen Jared a couple times as a pinch hitter since, or pinch runner, I should say, since coming back. Here's a century mark on the fastball. 1-1. High in the air, slicing down the left side. Heredia, the left fielder. Time to get there to make the catch. That is out number 2. So it'll be up to NOMAR MAZARA to keep this inning alive and this game alive for the Rangers. MAZARA tonight hit a rocket his last time up. Ben Gamble, who had just come into the game in the 7th inning, dove and made a great catch as MAZARA was leading off the 7th. And NOMAR 0 for 3 with a walk. First pitch from Diaz. Infield shading around to the right for MAZARA, not in the overshift. There's a strike, 1-1. One ball and 2 strikes. Diaz, 22-year-old right-hander. MAZARA pops it foul back into the seats. Prior to this year, Diaz had not pitched above AA ball. Became a reliever this year for the first time. I would say he's made the transition pretty flawlessly. Another one out of play. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Scott Service, the skipper in his first year with the Mariners. Check swing. He did not go around. Appeal down to Mike Malinsky. He said no.
Tough pitch to lay off of when a guy's throwing 100 miles an hour. Slider just a little bit out of the strike zone. Pretty good discipline.
Well, it's 2-2 now. MAZARA hanging tough. Jeff Bannister. His club came in here and ran into a bit of a buzzsaw. The Mariners swinging the bats pretty well. That was pulled foul. MAZARA trying to get aboard, give the Rangers an opportunity to keep this thing going. It is called strike 3. Upper part of the strike zone. Diaz has a couple of strikeouts and records his 13th save of the year. And the Mariners win 3 out of 4 from the Rangers in this series. 6-3 the final tonight. As the Mariners down the Rangers here at Safeco Field. And we'll be back to Seattle with more right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.